everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of Nobody Asked Us with Des and Kara. This is Kara talking to Des. This is all presented by Brooks Running, which...
If you can't see her, it is Kara Goucher. Now this is Des Linden speaking. Just so if you're first timers here,
I'm Kara Goucher.
A little voice check.
We did an interview today and it was awesome, but the person kept saying with Kara and Des, and I felt so confused, and I even was looking at you because this doesn't feel right. It doesn't flow right because we are Des and Kara presented by Brooks Running, not Kara and Des. That's not right. It doesn't
alphabetical
feel right.
order. But
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've worked so hard on that intro that it was like, no, bro, we would laugh you off the show. Imagine if you said them backwards.
I know. It was catching me off guard, but
this
still a great
Nobody
interview.
Told you with Chris, Kara,
you don't
and
really
Des.
listen with Kara and Des. You're not a true fan with Kara and Des. Oh, okay. Well, this is a special episode because you've had so many people wanting to interview about your decision and your race at Boston, and you've kind of been pushing them off. And I'm so grateful you did that so that I get to be the one that talks to you about it, and that we get to talk about it on our pod first, and then you can go on all of the other pods. But that's really what we're going to dive into today. And are you ready for this?
No, not at all. We might have a lot of edits. We might just have to shut it down. But we'll do it. We'll give it a try. The old college try. See what happens.
I think it's going to be great.
But it's not all about me. You also had a really great Boston and got to run a race, got to do the presser, got to do the commentary. So don't think you're getting off the hook.
Hey, by the way, and this is probably something I should share with you privately, I did get the world feed, and I really wanted you to see it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We did a Des Linden thing, and we had a camera on you, and I'm going to get that to you so you can see it. Not that you need to hear me talking about you more than you already do, but it is pretty special.
That is,
Boston.
How many people just like shit their pants because they were like, I didn't see anything on the broadcast. We never saw the Americans. Like, that's most of my comments. Like, I'm sorry. I wasn't in charge of that.
And I never jump into conversations like that because I know that network is super hard and you're dealing with commercials and you're dealing with sponsors and you have to do local packages, and I get all of that. But people were lumping me into the conversation, and I was like, oh no, we showed Des. We talked to her at the top of the show. We put her in our ones to watch. We, showed you off and on. We were able to go back and revisit your finish in 2018. We then had a Des cam follow you into the finish. We saw everyone finish. And that's just like the freedom of, we had small commercial breaks for Eurosport over in Europe. But in general, that's what you get by doing World Feed, because it really is just about the elite racing up front. But we saw everybody finish, everybody.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, I never jump into those conversations because I know how hard network is. But I was like, well, actually, we did do it right. You guys just didn't see it.
Oh, so she elaborated on it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to have to enter. Don't come at me.
Yeah. Well, so
we crushed it, I think.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That will be cool to see. There was a moto in front of me for a while, and I was like, this is so embarrassing. It's like
that was us, and we were eating it up like you wouldn't believe. So sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. They were in the tangents
awesome.
a few times. I was like, come on, guys, like, be respectful
that's
of the racing.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. That's awesome. That's neat to hear. And I think we'll get some of that footage. Like, we had a team doing a little video doc, and I think that they get some of that footage. So that will actually be a really good tie-in for what we can push out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So the weekend started basically Friday night, right? Was that your first big thing that you did in Boston?
Well, I went to the Louis Vuitton store on Thursday. So that was
so many people want to see your sweater. I'm a little disappointed that you're not wearing it right now.
I thought about it. It's kind of warm. But you wouldn't be able to tell. I wore it before the show, and you're like, oh, that's it?
Well, do you know what's funny is that we were sitting there at Life Alive Cafe, and Colt goes, Des is wearing Louis Vuitton. Colt really noticed.
Colt, he knew.
And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, because he noticed your shoes one time too. You had some sort of cool sneakers on once that he also noticed. And I was like, first of all, how do you know this, Colt? And second of all, wow. And then you told us this story. So it was pretty awesome. So
That's
I
actually
did notice, but
hilarious.
only because my son told me.
Yeah. It's super subtle. It's like the kind of like, if you know, you know, if you notice, you know. It's not like, I don't think it's gaudy. It's a black
No,
sweatshirt.
it's not gaudy at all. Yeah.
Anyhow, that was my Thursday. And a lot of people are like, what does it look like?
Okay, well, you're going to have to give the people what they want and show it at some point. Might have to
Yeah,
wear it in the next pod we record.
we'll see. Yeah,
Okay.
I could do that.
Okay.
I could do that.
So that
What
was
was
your
your
Thursday.
Thursday
Was your
like?
It was good. I came in and went to the Brooks Hype House and ran with 40 high school kids,
That's
girls and
right.
boys, and did like a Q&A. So it was really fun. Good times were had by all. I love that age group. So that was good. And then Friday I went to the press conference where I saw you,
Yeah.
and it just reminded me of what a big deal you are. Like some of the greatest athletes ever are there, and you're up on stage, and I'm like, dang, like she is a really big deal. And then how long were you at the press conference at your table? And do you hate that stuff, or are you like, no, it's fine?
I wasn't there that long this year, which is good. I mean, I feel like Emma Bates asked me that a couple years ago, and I was like, I could do without this. Like I'm good. But it's not like I don't hate it. And it was very much like, okay, like this is the last time you have to do this stuff. Like try to enjoy it a little bit. And like it is special. And like I think about when you first get to do it, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, this is so cool. Like this is, it feels so special. And I think a lot of the weekend was just being like, remember that this is special and not just routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And you had it, how was I mean, we're going to get into your decision and everything that's been going on behind the scenes, but how was it having a camera crew follow you? Was that stressful, or was it like totally fine? Like you knew they were going to be there and it didn't bug you?
yeah, no, actually, I have a good budget to coordinate stuff like content now. And so that was like arranged by me, which sounds like so pretentious and like self centered, but I have the budget to do it. And I knew that it was like a story that maybe we would like to tell later. So those guys were actually out in Michigan, but Andy, the photographer, um, we've gone on a bunch of trips together. Like when we did New Zealand, he was there, the Nakasendo. So I know him super well, and that's just really he's fun to hang out with. Like I actually just genuinely like being around him. Don't tell him that though, because he'll give me shit.
You might hear this.
Yeah,
Okay.
nah, he's not gonna listen. And then Ryan came out and was here in Michigan. He was a super nice guy, and like so I knew them well enough, and it was like very comfortable, and they're very respectful. So it was easy. I think it made a few things like it's like I want to get out and run a little bit earlier because like there's a
Yeah.
very
I was
obvious
like, how is she
target.
running? How are she and Ryan running out there with no one
Yeah.
around them? So you
Like
guys got
there's a
up early and
very
got it done?
obvious like, oh, what's going on there? And then like,
Right.
I already have a kind of a hard time with that sort of stuff. So that was probably the biggest challenge. But other than that, they're like kind of fly on the wall sort of stuff,
Yeah.
which was fine.
So Saturday did you lead a shakeout run on Saturday at Brooks?
I went to it. I went to the start of it,
Okay.
said a few words, and then I had already finished my run and then just kind of sent them off and jogged back to the hotel. We skipped
Nice.
I feel like what was your Friday? You did the pod and then you did the Brooks VIP, and then what'd you guys get up to? Did you just go to bed?
Yeah, because we had we had the 5K the next morning. So we were
Oh
like, we have to
yeah.
go to bed.
Oh.
So we just like went through the Brooks thing really quickly and just to say hi, and then looked like it was a good time, but I was like, I can't have a good time right now because I got to run in the morning.
Focus
Yeah.
dialed.
No, not
Ryan had a
really.
good old time. Him and his buddy Jack they were on one, and then they're like, oh shit, we're racing tomorrow. Now we got an excuse to be kind of slow.
That makes his run even more impressive. That makes it even
He
more
did a good
impressive.
job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Saturday, how was your press conference? What did you gather? Who'd you talk to? What was the vibes?
It was good. It's funny because everyone's just bullshitting you, right? Like everyone's in the best shape of their lives. Everyone's feeling amazing. I talked to Evan Chabet, who was sort of the person I thought, if he was healthy, could take it all. And Connor Mance had said in an interview that Evans Chabet typically takes it at 25K. And so I was talking to Evans through a translator, and I said, Connor Mantz says that the 25K mark is where you make your move. Is that true? Or do you just feel it when it's right for you? And I don't know what the interpreter said to him, but basically what I got back from the interpreter was, lady, you're crazy. I'm not going to tell you my race plan.
It's like,
Yeah. I was
sort
like,
of
oh, I don't
knows it.
expect you to tell you my race plan.
Yeah.
And then I made a joke out of it. I was like, but tell me, I'm going to tell everybody and I'm going to go tell all the other men. Then he laughed and stuff. But so that was good. John Career, I talked to him briefly. He just seems super confident, not super chatty, just like really confident to be there. And then trying to think, I talked to O'Beary for a while. I talked to Sharon Lokedi for a long time, and I was super pumped because in 2017, I called the NCAA cross country championships for float track. And I'm flying back. She was on my flight back to Colorado. And she's sitting next to me. I don't know who she is. And she's like really upset. She's just, all I know is that it's an athlete from Kansas. And she's really upset. And I start talking to her and she's so bummed. You know, she like really thought she was going to do something special and it fell apart. And I was telling her like, hey, it takes a long time. Like, especially cross country is difficult. You have to figure it out. It takes time. Anyway, I looked up her results later and she got like 40th or 44th or something. And I remember thinking, that woman like wants it. Because there's a little bit of delirium when you're getting 40th and you think you're supposed to win. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to want it. And so it's been so fun watching her rise. And like she knew she had it in her. So it was really fun because she was like, I was like, do you remember? And she's like, we sat on the plane together. And so then we were talking about that and how far she's come. And it was cool because she was saying how she still feels like she has to like prove to herself and to everyone else that she's a marathoner, even though she won her debut.
Yeah,
and
wild.
I think she felt like if she could, you know, beat O'Beary and win Boston, she could finally put that in the rearview mirror and say like, yes, I am. I think like there's a lot of things, as you know, she got left off the Olympic team originally and all that stuff. So talking to her was really, really fun. And then I talked to Connor Mantz and Clayton Young too long. I got yelled at by Mary Kate Shea and, you know, whatever. That was it though. Just chatted with them all day. And then I don't think I did anything else till I saw you for the pod on Friday.
Oh, that was Friday. I'm confusing my days. I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking the pod was like the night before.
Yeah, no. And then
that's good.
Saturday was the 5Ks.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little downtime. Okay. Exactly.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Saturday, how was the 5K? How were you feeling? What were the expectations?
Everyone thinks I was like sandbagging it. I really thought like 23 minutes is 7:20 pace. And that's what I felt like I could run. And then I did do a workout in the super shoes on Wednesday. I was doing quarters. I wanted to do 6 quarters at 7:20. So I knew like, oh, I'm on top of it. That's reasonable. Yeah. And then, you know, like they're so fun. And I run way too hard and I ended up doing 8. And then I was so sore. Oh, no. So anyway, I was like, okay, back to 23-minute pace. And then the night before, after the Brooks thing, Alicia Montano texted me and was like, hey, do you want to run together tomorrow? What are you shooting for? And I was like, I'm just helping Colt get to the front and then trying to run around 23 minutes. And she's like, do you think you could run 7-minute pace? And I was like, well, maybe with help, you know, if I'm running with someone. Yeah. This girl is such a liar. So we start we push our way in. Meb helps us get in. And Colt's off. He's doing his own thing. And I'm running with Alicia. And I'm looking at my watch and it's saying we're running like 6:20 pace. And I'm like, we're running 6:20 pace. And she goes, and just keeps running. We come through the first mile like 6:20 low. And I'm like, I can feel the tingle in my fingers. Like I haven't run that fast in a really long time. I know it's like so slow compared to you, but I'm like, that was 6:20. And she's like, And I'm like, okay. She's like, oh, we're doing this. She's such a liar. Yeah. So she has me on the ropes. Like twice I drop back and then I'm like, what are you doing? She's an 800-meter runner. Like get up there with her. So she has me completely on the ropes, but the course changed this year and the last bit, like the last K is on the Boston finish. And I got to tell you, I was like chasing some demons in that last K. I was like, no one is going to pass me. Yeah. No one's passing me. And so in the last K, she was like, what the hell? I put 10 seconds on her in the last K, but I wasn't even thinking about it anymore. I was like, no one's passing me and no one passed me, not a man or a woman in that final 1K.
That's legit.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I was like, I got to.
What'd you run? What was your time?
I ran 19:18. So I was happy. Okay. That was a help from Alicia and the shoes and some demons. So I was thrilled with it. It's like so sad, but I was thrilled. That's the fastest I've run in a long time.
How did you feel the next day? It was like the body.
Oh my God, so bad.
Okay.
I was so beat up. Colt and I went to run, like Colt started coming down with a cold and he was sore too. So we decided we'd get up and run 3 miles really slow, which was fun because we saw a bunch of people doing their shakeouts
Yeah.
on Sunday morning. But we were running like 10:30 pace and we were both just so beat up and so tired. And yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So there you go. Okay. I want to put aside anything that I did there because the rest is boring.
We'll see.
Called it for the
But
world feed. I want to talk about you now.
we'll see.
So,
Go ahead.
no, I know. I love how you keep trying to interject and like make this about not what this is about. This is about you and your experience. And so just right now, take a deep breath and just tell me, it's been a week.
Yeah.
How do you feel right now in your heart and in your gut about
Oh,
your
no, you can't do
decision?
that.
No, I'm asking you
That's like
that.
so unfair. Um,
No,
I, I'm good with it. Like it's the right decision. Um, I'm like I'm nervous.
I know
I don't.
you're so
I feel like
fidgety.
I
It's
haven't felt
okay.
this
It's okay to show
nervous since
emotion,
I
Des.
interviewed you on your book. Yeah, no, I think I've been thinking about it for a year, to be honest,
Mhm.
and I knew it was the right time, and it doesn't make it easier, but I feel content. Like I don't think I had anything left to prove anyhow. I just wanted like one more like good day, and for the last couple of years, I've been like, okay, I can run. I feel like I can run 224, 225. You know, like I think I have that in me. I think I have that good like one good day left. And getting ready for this, it was like, okay, like I think I wrote down break 226 and try to be top 10 or whatever, which two different goals depending on how the day shakes out. Um, so I hit like, I was very close to that. And even if I had run 223, 224 and like had that really A plus, like, okay, I thought that was there. Like I look at the results and I'm like, who cares? Like and this is not a knock on anyone else because like it does matter. And it's just where I'm at relative to other people. And like having won it before, having been in the top four, having been in the, like all these different things, like I don't need to go there and run 223 and be like, all right, that was a 13th place finish. Good job. Like that's not rewarding for me. It's not very fulfilling, And so like I put everything on this one to just try to have the best day I could. And I was happy with the time I ran. I was happy with how I ran. And it was also kind of perfect in like, it's just not competitive. Like that was a really
Mm.
good day and it's just not competitive. So I answered a lot of questions and I think I feel really satisfied. But it's like my whole world is different.
Does it feel significantly different?
Yes.
Mm. Yeah,
Like,
I mean, there is a but yeah, keep going.
no, there's just like, it's not, but it's also like there's a big void. So
Mm.
it is.
Yeah. But even with that void, as you sit there today, and I'm pressing you in a way that makes you uncomfortable, so I'm sorry, but I'm gonna
It's
keep
okay.
doing it. Even with that void, is there still a voice that says it's the right decision?
Oh,
Or is
yeah.
there a voice that says, "I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this?"
No, it's 100% the right decision. And I think that's beyond even like what I want to do. It's like respecting the event and the people who in Boston, the BAA and all the folks there who've treated me so well for so long, like I think it would be hard to continue going back and being like, treat me this way, but I'm not going to deliver on it. And I expect to be propped up as this champion for forever, but I don't have those tools anymore. It's just being realistic with that. Like I don't think I could ask for that without feeling really guilty. Like, hey, I know when to bow out and you guys have taken really great care of me and I don't want to like squeeze this for anything because I don't need to. And so yeah, and I like there's a level of dignity to it, like, and I'm not, again, this isn't about anybody else's career path. Like you can do things however you want to do them, But for me, like, this feels like there's like a dignity piece where you're like, okay, like I don't want to just limp through these races and just be there just to be there. Like I want to do it well. And if I can't do it well, I need to move on. Does that make
Talk to
sense?
us a little bit. That makes total sense. Yeah. And I love the word dignity that you use. I think, and I want to get into that a little bit later too. So I'm going to just pause on that. But I think that's a perfect way to sum it up. But talk to us a little bit about how this decision came to be because you told me, I don't know, maybe it was a year ago, maybe it was 6 months ago, heading into New York, like Boston's going to be my last big one. And what I remember is that you were like, I'm putting all my eggs in Boston. I want to run well in New York, but all my eggs are going in Boston. And then you were like, damn it, I ran well and I didn't even like get all the training that I needed to get in New York. But talk to us about the process. I think it's so fascinating because first of all, you're not retired. You're just
Right.
saying you're not going to line up in a professional field in the marathon anymore, but there's a million other things you could be doing. But it is like a loss. Like when you said there's a void, I totally get it. And it's a big decision to make. And even though you want to have dignity, people love seeing you out there. People genuinely don't care how fast you're running. They love seeing you out there. So talk to us about how you started to think like maybe I should be done on this professional side and like what the last year has looked like knowing that this is coming and just what have you done because you knew this was going to be the last big one for you on the marathon side.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was literally after the race last year. I remember sitting down with Mary Kate and just like knowing, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like this isn't fun. It's like it's so in between packs or I'm just running by myself and it's not really racing. It was just like I can't do it. And she's, very thoughtful and was like, well, take some time. Like it's just happened. Like give yourself a break and think about it. And I felt like pretty content with that. And then we talked again in Paris around the Olympics and it was like, are you still feeling that way? Like, what does this look like? Um, and it still felt right. But it also like having that time was like, I do want to go and I want to like compete pretty well. Like I think I can have that one more good run there. And so, um, we worked out a contract that incentivized me for running really well there. And also in all honesty, we put in things for the future for like maybe if I'm in wave one, or maybe I want to go back on 10 years from my win or things like that, I can go back and participate. Um, and yeah, we just like kind of teed that stuff up. So I think there's obviously another side to it, and there's going to be probably times where I still run the race. I'm just not going to compete. Um, but yeah, I think it allowed me to process a lot over the last year and sort of feel like I was preparing for the moment and what it might feel like and all of those things. But even like that last week, it's just or last couple days was doesn't matter how much you prepare for it. It's like a lot of crying alone.
Yeah, well, one of the things that when we were talking over text about it at one point, maybe, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or a month ago, you were saying like when you know, and, or maybe I said that and you agreed. Because for my own self, it was like, I just knew in my gut, like I just had done what I could do and I was tired and I just didn't have the will to fight anymore. What was it about you that was like, what made you know that you knew, like, I'm done with professional marathoning?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to last year's race, just like feeling so ready and then getting off the line and like, like a mile and a half in, you're just like, oh shit, I've completely lost the pack. Like this isn't even, and then I worked my way back up. I saw the pack for like 3 seconds at halfway and then it was gone again. And it's just like, and that was after the trials where I basically ran alone the entire time. Like I'm just out here running, like I'm participating, I'm not competing. And not to did you watch White Lotus? Do you watch White Lotus?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, not to make this a pop culture moment that was just a blip on the radar, but like obviously the stuffy mom, Victoria, she's like, at this age, I just don't think I'm made to have an
Yeah.
uncomfortable life. And I was like, that's me, but with the marathon, like it's fucking pissing rain, or like you're doing like, like you have to go out and do all the work in these certain days. And it's just like, I don't like for what? Like, I don't have anything to prove. I feel pretty content. And like, even if I bust my ass and get everything out of myself, like maybe I run 225 and like I'm still in the same place. Um, so I think there's a void, but there's also this crazy opportunity to see things that like I haven't been able to see or do or experience before. And that's exciting. It's just right now you just see what you're missing versus like, oh, these are things I want to try next.
Most athletes don't get to decide. They have a lot of injuries that end it, or they just stop performing at a high enough level, or they lose their sponsorship. That I know you want to go out with dignity, but that is not where you are. You still haven't had a bad marathon. You're still running 226, 227. So talk to us about, I mean, I think it's pretty special to be able to say, no, I'm done. And these are the reasons why. And tell us about that. I mean, you've watched everyone, and I can't think of anyone that got to have the race where they wanted to and know this was going to be it. So, and yeah, I just think it's so special. And so tell us, I guess I'm just babbling, but talk to us about
Okay.
that, the difference between that and other people, and then also why you chose Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like one of the greatest things that about the whole thing is that I did get to go out on my own terms, and that's a product of Brooks. I think I have a professional contract still, and before we even did that deal, I was like, "Hey, this is my game plan. Like, I want to take a full page ad out. I want to thank the city. I want to thank the race. Like, this is meaningful to me. Like, I'm done with this part." And we kind of went back and forth on it. Like, are you sure? Like, you could probably. And I was like, all the things I've already said. Like, it just doesn't feel right. And they really supported that, but also we're like, we still want to support you as a professional. So, like, put things in this professional contract that are going to keep you fired up, keep you running, keep you interested in competing, because we think people still want to see you compete. I don't know if that's the case or not, but like it's great to have that option. And so I think that's the benefit of having a really long-term partnership. And I think there's times where athletes get to the end of a contract and they don't get any renewal options, and that's just unfortunate. Or there are times where they're running great and they kind of see grass is greener in a different place and they go, well, let's make the switch. And then it becomes short term and you sort of lose that like long story together. So I'm very lucky to have that. Um, and also the same thing with the Boston Marathon. I debuted there in 2007, which is crazy luck. Like, I don't know if you want to tell the people this, but I didn't even have a qualifier. I'm so I
Oh God, the hate mail's coming.
I was so elite, past tense. I was so elite that they just let me in, um, which is cool. And so I got to debut there. Like, I didn't know shit about the marathon, and I really didn't know much about this particular marathon. I learned it and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And I just had an amazing first experience, and I kept going back, and then it was like every experience you could have in Boston, from like heartbreak at the trials, getting so close and having a breakthrough in 11, like all these different things. Um, I had them on that course in that city. And we don't have like professional teams where you're like, "Oh, like this group is rallying behind me," or like if it's the Olympics, it's rotating. And so it's hard to feel like you ever connect with that. In my career, for some reason, I just got lucky and had that rare special thing in one city. Um, and to have the opportunity to, one, to be aware of that, and two, to put a thank you note out, was like, yeah, you have to do that. Like, this is so unique. And I think fans of cities and teams and like they just appreciate that. And so it was cool for me to be able to do that.
When you were writing the letter to put out, how hard was that to write?
Not hard. I feel like you probably want to think that I spent a lot of time on it. I got like some starter bullets from Barbie Huebner, who was helping me kind of place it, and worked at the Globe a while back, and was kind of had the conversations with the ad department, like, "Hey, this doesn't go to the newsroom. This is an ad, and don't what the content." Like, she's managing all that, but she kind of put down some bullets, and then from that, I was like, "Oh, I know exactly what I want to say." And it became this sort of love letter, which is kind of funny because I don't have a heart. But yeah,
This is the funny thing is that it sold you out that you do. This whole experience sold you out.
yeah. So yeah, it didn't take long. It was like I knew what I wanted to say, and I feel like it's not going out on top because I'm not like at my peak, but like for me racing in Boston, racing the Boston Marathon, like that's as good as it gets. You know, however
It
that
is.
day went, it was like that's the pinnacle. So it's going out
And
on
you ran
top.
so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think talk to us about the decision because that piece came out the morning of. Um, that's a lot of emotion to put out there. Well, actually, back up. I know you had thought about announcing this ahead of time because you said I don't want to be at the press conference or I want people to know I don't want to have to be dealing with this. In the end, you decided to wait and announce it Monday morning. What was the decision to wait? Why did you decide to wait?
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, it was going to be Sunday or Monday. Sunday, I just felt like I could still like bump into people and have to like field questions or like get the sympathy or like I just didn't I wanted to have a good race. And so I was like, let's just leave this as late as possible.
But
Monday,
even like you were talking about announcing it a few weeks before, right? Not your letter. No?
no, no.
Okay.
I was never going to
Okay.
announce it before. Um
Okay.
and I will say I heard a little thing on the Let's Run podcast. Um, Jonathan Galt was very kind, a nice couple words, and they were asking. They were like, "Oh, did Brooks pay for this? You know, this is really great marketing." Um, I paid for it. I feel like that's one of the things that I felt strongly about. Like brands, a few different brands were kind of like, "Hey, we would love to support this or help," and it's kind of defeats the purpose if you're like, "I've made this. It's an actual ad now instead of a thank you letter." So
Right. Yeah.
that it was from me in Sunday papers are more expensive than Monday papers. I'll tell you that much. And I just was like, I want to leave this as late as possible. But it was also being conscious of like, I don't want to take anything from like the race stories, you know, like the race stories that
Mhm.
came out on Friday, like those are the main things. Like, not that it would or wouldn't have, but it just putting in a position where it's like, okay, like this is its own thing, but it's not going to take away from any of the racing or those storylines.
Well, I think that is just like who you are. Like it I hate the word classy. I don't know why, but it is classy. It's like you want the focus to be on the people who are trying to win. You're so classy. It's because someone in my childhood used to always call me classy, and so I like really hate that word. But I think it applies
You are
here. You're like
classy.
thinking of other people. You're thinking of other people before yourself. But um and so the storylines leading up, got to be about the athletes that were trying to win. I'm wondering what it felt like to post that Instagram post on Monday. When you posted that before you run your race, or did Ryan post it? Like, what was that
No,
like?
I wasn't going to post it at all. And then I was like, shit, I honestly don't know how many people read print. Like, it's like people might not even see this. What a waste. I was go buy some papers, people. I spent some money on this. Um, so I did it like I did it last minute. And actually, if you look at it, I posted an earlier iteration. The first post is the wrong post, and then I like, kind of zoomed in so you can actually read the text, and that is the right post. So yeah, I wasn't totally with it when I posted it. I was just like wanted to set it and forget it, but it was right at the start of the bus ride because I think Allison Wade had posted her friend's copy, and I was like, oh shit, like I should probably like do this because people are it's out there. And then um, Erin Shea sat next to me on the ride out, and like she's so sweet. She's kind of left me alone while I like bawled in my seat, like looking out the window. Um, so yeah, like that bus ride usually feels like forever, and it just like kind of went by in a blink.
Yeah, I think that's the part that is so amazing to me is that you had those emotions and then still had this excellent run. I'm also thinking about how one of the things I think you've really modeled is being in control of your own career. You know, like you're choosing when to go out, you're choosing how to do it, you're choosing to post this letter. You know, like you said, you saw that Allison Wade had posted it, and then you take control. Like, no, this is not anything against Allison, but you're like, this is my story to tell. So I'm actually gonna post on my Instagram so people hear it from me. Do you think of yourself in that way as a leader in that space? I mean, I definitely see you as a leader of someone who really took control of her own career, the messaging that you went out. I don't consider Des Linden a brand, but I just feel like you're, maybe you think of yourself as a brand, but is someone who's just really led in that space of being authentic to yourself and controlling the story about you and making it be from you and not someone else's point of view.
I you said the word perfectly. I am a control freak. And it's I mean, I just like my expectations for how things should be done and the way I want them done. And I'm not always right. Like I'm wrong all the time, but like I just when I have like a vision of how something should be or what I expect or like I'm probably one of the hardest people to work with and I kudos to anyone who was willing to put up with me for a long time, but like I just the expectations are so high and I'm just like you're going to fuck it up, so I'll just do it myself, And like that's like it's a problem and it's even like in dealing with sadness, it's like I'm just going to stay in my room and cry by myself because I don't need help. Like I'll just figure it out myself. And that's like it's not something that I'm proud of. I should be able to delegate and ask for help and um, trust people, but I don't. So I do control a lot, and it's not a good quality, I don't think. But I also think, in terms of having your career and taking care of it and making sure you're putting things on the track the way you want them to be, like you should be pretty hands on, because no one will care about you as much as you. And if someone does, like you don't care enough, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Ta-
aggressive.
It's not aggressive. I like it. And I think again though, I think you're a leader in that way. I think athletes coming up are going to they've learned so much from you already. And that's another piece that maybe is overlooked is the way that you have managed your career, the way you have spoken, the interviews, your book, the way you decided to go out, the way you announced it. It's just creating a new way of doing it where it's actually not the brand getting the credit for you and your career. You are getting the credit for you and your career. And I think it's really incredible. And I think it'll affect generations to come and how they handle this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be cool to see, and I think if it's important to you and you want it done a certain way, like you got to lead the ship, and you can ask for guidance and help, but ultimately, I feel like what I've kind of said is to and I talked to a lot of brands about this beforehand, and it's like, hey, this is the plan, this is what I'm doing. I'm open to considering your opinions. Doesn't mean I'm going to take them, but I will absolutely consider them. And so I considered a lot of opinions, and it definitely shaped how the whole thing rolled out. But it was all very much like, this is what I want, and these are the things I won't bend on, and these are the things that, yeah, we can chat about it. So, yeah, I think it's just being involved and caring about what you're doing.
Yeah. I texted Ryan on Sunday. I said, "How's our girl?" And he said, "She's kind of holed up in here. She's very emotional." What were some of those emotions that you were having? I know you don't like to show emotion, but
No,
it
that's
also makes
okay.
us realize that you're human, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was just really sad. Like, it's the last time, and just the places, the people, like the routines, like, oh, I'm never going to get to do this again, which is wild to think about. But it's like it's funny cuz it's all self-imposed. Like no one's like, "Hey, you have to do this." So it's like I'm aware of that. But it didn't make it any easier, and then like we had a lot of discussions about it too, where it's like, fuck, man, I wish I just had a career-ending injury. Like, that would be so much easier than this. Like, if it was like, "Hey, no, you have to be done because this thing," like,
Mhm.
I've lost a step, but it's not like it's like a slow leak. And I think then when you really start digging into this stuff, you're like, okay, it's about aging and mortality and like, yeah, we're all gonna die, and that's like fucking heavy. So there was a
Mhm.
lot of like, you don't want to go too deep down that path, but there was a few moments where like you're just like, oh, this is like I'm getting closer to death. That's fucking terrible. And I want to take a quick moment to we can come back to the or I'll probably take us way off topic, but I will say the 2 nights before, so uh
Saturday.
Saturday, we had this suite on the corner, and at like 10:30, I was just going to bed early. At like 10:30, this child was screaming. Like Ryan's like they're playing hockey in the hall, like going bananas, just like whatever, that's fine. It's 10:30. 11:30. The child's throwing a tantrum, like, I'm not going to bed. You have an attitude. Like just and the mom's yelling. And it went on
Oh
to like
God.
12:30. And I was really afraid that I was not like this 2 nights before. You're like, this is the big sleep night, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but this is where the Lagoon pillow is a lifesaver. And do you see what I did there? Sleep is so important. And I think it would
It's
have
so
been like
good.
so much
You're
more
not off the hook,
emotional.
but it is so good.
But like, dude, to have a good plushy pillow that you're like, I'm bringing the travel version. I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to get my sleep. It's just so important. So I do feel like
Wait,
we
hold
should run a contest to see like what team people are on because I keep getting a lot of team otters and I'm like that has to be more expensive because they're so full of stuff.
a
Team
lot of people are
chinchilla.
like, Team Chinchilla. Okay, so I saw this and I thought of us. So read this on Instagram, and it's true. People who sleep with multiple pillows usually have significantly higher anxiety levels, study says. And I have to tell you something. I used to be like a 2-pillow girl because I like it big and fluffy. And I'm like, oh my God, that's why I have anxiety. But because the otter is so big and fluffy, I don't need that second pillow. So I do think that Lagoon is saving me from some anxiety.
There's probably something to that. Yeah,
Right?
well, it's not saving you money because you're buying like 3 pillows in one. You know what will save you money is our code. You thought this was going to be serious. You can use Nobody Asked Us for 15% off with the link in our bio to get a Lagoon pillow. Take the quiz if you're Team Chinchilla. Give me a shout. Woo, woo.
If you're Team Otter and you're normal, let me know.
Don't otters like clap? Or is that seals?
I don't know. Okay, well, that was a very good segue, and I was excited to read my research study, but back to you.
I'm sorry. I took that next time.
But Lagoon really is the best. Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're like uncomfortable, but I'm sorry.
Okay.
I need you to walk us through the marathon.
Yeah.
I need you to walk us through, we went over the course in our pod Friday night. I need you to walk us through the landmarks, how you were feeling, what was going through your mind. And I'm desperate to know the camera in your face on the start line. How did you calm all of your emotions? And at this point, everybody knows the cat's out of the bag. My phone's blowing up, and like people are emotional about it. They're crying and you haven't even run yet. So how are you keeping all of your emotions together as you stand there with the camera in your face, knowing that this is the last time you're going to competitively run the Boston Marathon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the easiest part of the whole weekend because you're just like, just race, like this is why I held it to this late. This is why, like, honestly, it's why I'm doing it because I want to get out in the course and not have any excuses. Like, I thought of Jake Riley's Olympic trials where he was like, no more next times. Like, I just kept saying, like, this is it, like, no more next time. And I thought about that a lot. I think that's super smart. And I feel like I needed that. Like, I can avoid reductions all day long. I can break 230. I can, but I just feel like I've been going through the motions to a degree for a long time. And so I was just really excited to race and that, I didn't think about it in terms of like a lot of times during the buildup, it was like, this is the last time I have to do this. Like you're in a workout and you're like, one more rep, like let's rip. This is the last time you have to do this. And then sometimes it's even in that same rep, it's like, this is the last time you get to do this. So like make it count, make it meaningful. And yeah, I was very excited to race and I wanted
But how
it
did you
to
make
go
that?
well.
How'd you make the mental shift? And maybe it's just is that it meant so much to you. And I know it meant so much to you. And I actually maybe before you go through the Boston course, I want you to, you've said a few times now, I put everything in this. I want to know what that specifically means. But how did you make that shift from I'm crying on the bus
Yeah.
to I'm excited, I'm going to make this count?
I think it's just that is routine. I mean, I think that's just like the racer's mentality, and that's like what I was so excited to get to, that I wasn't gonna let emotions or like feelings get in the way of the job, you know? And that's just
Hmm.
I think that's discipline. Like, it's sort of like when you don't feel like running, you know, like you check that and you just go do it because it's your job. And so it was like, well, like just be disciplined here. So it wasn't really hard to switch, but I'm also probably a psychopath. So
A little.
I don't know if that's a chinchilla quality, but
Backtrack 1 second. You've
yeah.
said it multiple times. You were all in on this one. It mattered to you. What were the things you did that were all in compared to maybe some of the marathons you've done over the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of the same stuff, and I think really just know like trusting myself and knowing myself this one. I think in the fall, um, I was still getting a lot of feedback from Walt and like kind of bouncing ideas off of him and being, like second guessing myself. Um, and this time it was mostly because I got busy, but I just like wrote my whole schedule myself and was able to be super aggressive when I wanted to be, but like adaptable and flexible and like making good decisions. And um yeah, it went really well. Like, so I didn't feel like I'm shit, man. I got massages. Like I was all in.
I know. Yes. You
Yeah.
got 4 massages.
And no, 3. Don't
3.
just
Okay. Great.
um and I was doing burpees, and then I had that IT band thing and I haven't done a burpee since, which I'm so
You
disappointed
fell
in
off the
myself.
burpee bandwagon.
Yeah,
It's
I
okay.
need to start doing that again. I actually a crazy story. They do drug testing um before the race, blood, and they like took from my left arm, and like the next day, I didn't even piece it together, but my left wrist was so sore. Like I couldn't have done burpees if I wanted to. There was no way. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with my hand? Like it was swollen, like super
Oh my
puffy.
gosh.
And then like that night I was going to bed and like I elevated on the pillow because I was just like, it hurt so bad. And I had it on the pillow and I was like, "Oh, this is from the blood draw." Like, it, like, must have
That's crazy.
it was, like, so swollen, side note. So, that was frustrating, but other than that, I was all in.
Okay. All right. Back to the start line.
Yeah.
You're lined up. You're focused. You're ready to go. The race starts. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly fairly uneventful. No one wants to take the lead at the start, and then we're all kind of like jockeying, like who's going to push, when are we going to get going? I can't even remember the woman who did it, but it had to be like right after the mile. She probably saw the split and was like, "Dude, we don't have time for this." And like it took off, and that's like the last couple of years. That's just how it's been. So, I feel like I covered that very first move. I was like, all right, I can run some 5:20 somethings. It's downhill. It's okay. Like be a little bit aggressive today. And then there was like a second move, maybe at the water bottle station, maybe even earlier than that. And I think they dropped like a five O's or five flat, something
Hmm.
insane. And so then it was just like, all right, you've like found your group. And it was me, Kira, D'Amato, Gabby Rooker, Tristan Colley, um, and we ran a lot together, and there was a handful of people dangling out in front, but they were just like small targets really far away. So I think I caught, two or three people all day. Um, but it was good. I mean, I think I went through the half in 1:11:40 something, and normally I would have been nervous about that. Like that's pretty aggressive for me. I don't really know. But I felt very comfortable with it. I was like, "This is the right decision," and I'm not a big, like, bank time, but I think the second half's just slower, and if you're gonna have a good day, you have to like, if you wanna run fast, you have to run fast at some point, so it felt right, and then, yeah, got into the hills, and I think I was pretty much broken away from that group I had been running with. They're always closer behind than you think, but you can't really tell,
Hmm.
and I
Tell us
ran.
what that's like when you're running with a pack of women that you don't train with or anything. Is
Mhm.
it helpful? to move in a pack like that? Or are you more comfortable when you broke away on the hills? Like, what is that like?
Um, it wasn't super beneficial. I mean, I think having company is good, but I also feel like at times, like Tristan and I were almost racing before we really needed to race, which in hindsight
Mm.
probably was beneficial. Um, like once you start to like, lose a little pace, should pass me and like get a little gap, and you'd be like, no, I feel good on this uphill. And then so it was almost like we were working off each other's strengths, which is good. Um, but I think I want to say I was probably a little stronger than her on the uphills. So when we got into the hills, I was pretty much on my own, which is fine. And I felt like I ran the hills pretty well. Like none of them felt like they kicked my ass. Like I definitely slowed a lot, but I was like, no, I'm breaking these things up the way I want to. The overpass before the right hand turn that I always struggle on, I'm so proud of myself. Like I don't think I've ever run it that well. Like I just was like, okay, get to here. Okay, get to here. This is the next. And that, like I knew that after the training trip that's like a spot I could crack and like actually feel good about. So I got that, and then yeah, like coming off of the last hill off of Heartbreak, you just kind of find out what your legs have left. And I think Dakota was way out in front of me still, just a little orange dot, but I knew who it was. And I was like, all right, it's on.
Your nemesis.
Yeah.
Your nemesis.
She
She had
was
the
great
funniest post
there.
about you. Yeah.
I know. She was
Um,
great.
are you taking in how loud people are cheering for you specifically? Not just the marathoners, but for you, Des Linden specifically. Are you hearing that? Are you feeling that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think early on, I think it was Kira was like, just like leaned over, like said it out loud. She's like, you like need a key to the city. And I was like, there actually is a Des Linden Day. um, but also like I do have my name on my bib. So it's like one of those things where you forget that your name is on there and people are just cheering because that's what they're out there to do. And they're like, oh, it does. And you're like, yeah, I'm like a fucking rock star. But your name's like on your
I
shirt.
think you're underestimating your popularity in the city, perhaps a tad.
No. But there was some great signs. There was one lady who had like Des knows every pothole in the city or something. It was pretty funny. And she was so excited that I did see the sign. But there was some good signs out there. But I felt loved. I definitely felt loved. It's cool.
So you get to the top of Heartbreak. What was left in your legs? How are the shoes?
Great. I mean, I think the shoes are great. I would make a few suggestions to them just because I'm particular and I think you could always make them better. But
Yeah.
legs felt really good. And I like needed to get it. I think I needed to get into those downhills a little bit more. Like I needed to take a couple of them and just like stretch the legs out to like pop out of that slower rhythm. Um, but I want to say at like 22, 23, like I felt some like hamstring, like just not cramps, but like, hey, I'm here and I'll fuck you
Grabbing.
up if
Yeah.
you try and push too hard. So like, all right, I'll respect that. Um, yeah, and then it was just like the regular routine, and like I don't think I have anything to do. There's no bodies to catch, but like you can't take your foot off the gas because when people blow up, they like absolutely blow up. And I think maybe it was 22, 23. Like I saw another body near Dakota, and I was like, okay, like you're gonna start. You might catch some people, so like don't settle. And then around the sicko sign, it was very clear that it was Sarah, and I was like, oh, that's actually the Masters division, which would be sick to win.
That's true. This is a legit Masters division with Edna and you and Sarah. I mean, that's like a terrifying Kira. That is like
Yeah,
Masters to the max.
like it was like pretty meaningful, to be honest. And I mean that
Of
shows you where
course.
I'm at in
Yeah.
my career. But yeah, I was like, oh, I could actually win this category, which is really cool. And they actually you get the name engraved on it's sick. It's a whole thing. So I was like, I really want to win this category. Um, and I passed Sarah probably right about the Sitco sign, I bet, maybe even a little later. Which was great because she's so fucking tough that I'm like, I can't. Now I doubt, like, I've passed her. She's going to go with me. Like, it's on from here. Like, you have to race. So started pressing a lot more, and like that's when I was kind of like, oh, maybe I do have a little bit more legs than I thought, and then I was like, maybe if I hadn't been a bitch ass, I could have caught Dakota, but I was worried about my hamstring. My self talk on the course is like, don't be a bitch ass.
I love that. When you went
Go.
by Sarah, were there any words exchanged, or you're just racing at that point?
There wasn't. Normally, like, you know, like you're encouraging or whatever, but I feel like she went out so hard and like she was in it. She was in the moment. She was hurting. I'm not gonna like interrupt
Yeah.
whatever her self talk is. Um,
Yeah.
and be like, no, Sarah, don't be a bitch ass. She's like, that's not my self talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just
I'm
let it,
pretty
you
sure
know.
she thinks differently in her head.
Yeah, exactly.
um, Tell us about the last iconic K of that race. And I have to say, when you were coming down Boylston, there was just a look on your face I haven't seen on your face before. Usually I feel like you're waving, you're taking it in. It felt to me like you were fighting the emotions to stay in the moment. Not that's not bad. It just felt like, oh yeah, she's about to cry. She's trying to like make sure that she gets through this. But tell us about like that last iconic, right on Hereford, left on Boylston. It's so loud. Everyone at that point, like word has gotten everywhere that this is Dez's last elite run through Boston. How are you keeping it together? What's going through your mind? I know you're fighting for that Masters title, and I know we're laughing, but it's legit. Like I remember being like, "Oh, she can't win it. Edna's in there." I mean, and then I was like,
Right.
"Oh my
Right.
god, she's gonna win the Masters title!" Yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally thought I won it in New York. I was like, yes, like a little victory. And they're like, oh no, Florence Kiplagat was third. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, are you kidding me? So it has eluded me. I did get it there. So yeah, no, that's what I was thinking about. Hereford felt really hard. I felt like I was running so slow up Hereford. And I knew Sarah was like charging, and I I mean, I think I was still being pretty strategic, like make sure you have the legs for Boylston to like sprint if you need to sprint. Um, I don't know. I don't even truly remember if I got emotional on Boylston. I'm sure I probably did to a degree, but I think it was also like this just race your face off because this is the last time you get to like do that without being weird.
well, I think the last few years I'm just used to you kind of like waving when you're coming in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you weren't waving.
I thought
You
I
were
wanted
like
to catch
running to
Dakota.
that line. Yeah, yeah, you were
It's
trying to get that. You were
like,
trying to own that rivalry one last time.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, she is racing right now, and it was
yeah,
actually really cool to see.
yeah. It was fun, and I think that like that's what I did all day long, which is the best way to do it. You know, I think if I had like teared up or like had a emotional like moments or like that, I could do that next year in a sad way or whatever, like in the future. But like it's the last time you get to like race it. So that was just the focus. And then I felt so satisfied crossing the line. Like the time was, right around what I wanted. I won the Masters division. Um, I'm not even going to think about Dakota because it doesn't matter anymore. And it was cool that they had Ryan there to like hug it out, which was something that they talked about, like in 18 people were super excited and like kind of stepped in, and it should have been his moment and our moment, and they're like we really want to make that right, and so they brought him out and like got to hug him right away, and he was stoked. So yeah, it was great.
And then all the Americans were cheering you on. Were you aware of that? They were bowing down to you and so excited.
I did see it was super nice. A little extra. No, it was super. I
It's
mean,
difficult when you're the queen and you're just like kind of crotchety, and we all just want to worship you, but you're just like, oh God, guys,
no,
come on
no,
now.
I'm not that special. Like, don't. Like,
You
where's
are. You
like the line?
are.
Like, I don't want to be a member of any club that will let me in, or like, um,
I
no. But I
know.
think just it speaks to like how hard the sport is, and anybody who's in it and sees what you've done, and maybe has their own goals, and they're piecing it together. Like, there's just a lot of respect, and like, I didn't bow to them because I wasn't prepared for that moment. But like, man, they all ran so well, and they're crushing it, and they deserve the bows just as much.
when you look back at your history at Boston, you think about the memories that made you who you are. Let's take the win out because that's an obvious, easy answer. But give us 2 or 3 other moments that in your 12 races at Boston that helped create you and made you who you are as a marathoner and as a person.
Yeah. I mean, I think the debut is super special because I really thought that was just so awesome. I was like, these crowds are incredible. It was like the worst year of crowds ever. I was like, this is
Yeah,
so
that was the worst year. It's
yeah,
like a
it's
nor'easter,
terrible.
right?
Yeah, it was terrible. And this is so sick. Like these people fucking love this race. Like I love this race. Like this is so fun. Like I can't wait to come back. And before that, I was like, the marathon's ridiculous. Like I don't I would never do that. So it got me really excited about that. 2011, like, validated so much. Like, oh, this is a career path. I can do this, make a living. I can, compete at a high level. And like I had said, like, I think I can win. And people were just like, the fuck you can. Like, who are you? And then I went out and, put up a really great fight. And yeah, like I believed in myself and it was like, okay, now I have the result to prove that that's not insane. So that was really great. I think 2017 was probably one of my best races, and I think I was fourth. I think that was such a pivotal moment in the shoe game, and we talk about this all the time. But because we've been on both sides of it, like that crushed me in a really big way where the sport felt so different. The way people moved those last few miles. It was sort of like foreshadowing to what it is now, but only a handful of people had access to the tools.
And you did
Um,
not have access to
I
the
did
tools. Let's
not.
just be
I
clear. Yeah.
I believe if I were on a level playing field, I, I probably could have been runner up again or fighting for it. I think that one's tough and it's not Boston's fault. It's not, it's no one's fault. Um, but that one was like the game has changed and you're like, okay, like I don't know if this is for me anymore, which in 18 because of the weather, like it was an equalizer. Like equipment,
Mhm.
became a non-factor. It was like the whole thing with the course and the history and all that stuff is like it's meant to test your grit and your toughness and like it's not there are no pacers and it's not supposed to be fast. It's not about time. It's like just a true competition. And that almost got tarnished to me in 17 and then 18 it was like, oh no, that stuff still matters. It can still matter. And it did. And that was people are like, well, wouldn't you have rather won in a different year where people wouldn't say it was just the weather? And for a long time it would have been like, yeah, I mean it would have been more meaningful or maybe it would have been like people would have respected it more or whatever. But I think in hindsight and with enough time, like I would take that win every day and twice on Sunday because it's about all the things that I fell in love with the event. Like it was like a test of toughness and grit and like can you manage hard things, not like let's make it as easy as possible and see how you do. Like you know, that's not interesting to me. So that one obviously was special. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I remember messaging with you after 2017. So to see you win in 2018 was just like poetic justice to me. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was well deserved. I don't want to keep you forever. I have one more question and then we're going to do an uncomfortable lover moment for you.
Okay.
Which kind of puts you on the spot. But
Okay.
I could talk to you forever, but it's late where you are. And um, I just want to know, like, you've had this unbelievable career and suckers. If you think she's retired, she never said the word retired. There's a whole new world out there. But talk to me about what your hope, those women that were bowing to you at the finish. What do you think? What do you hope that they've learned through your experience, through your trial and errors, through the things you've done that can help them and that they can carry with them?
Oh, goodness. I mean, I think they all have their own path and their own knowledge, and they're probably way ahead of anything that I knew. But I guess if there were things in my career that I would offer as advice, it's like, be your own biggest fan. Like, no one's going to do it for you. I think across the board, everyone's kind of worried about themselves and how you slot in. It's great when you're on top, but as soon as you slip a little bit, or if you're having a rough patch, like, you kind of get pushed to the back burner. And so, like, you have to be there for yourself. You have to continue to believe. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to make things happen and not just give up on your dreams because it feels like others have maybe given up on you a little bit. I think that that's super important. Um, I mean, I think probably along the same lines, but like, believe you belong, like, someone was talking about doing an article with like sort of this story, but also where are the Americans and are we ever going to, like, why have they fallen behind, and I don't buy that. I think there's all the people who have all the tools to get it done, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen again, and they're going to inspire like the next person. So just believe you belong. I think we were talking about the high schooler today who broke 15. It was like she didn't have any like mental barriers about that number. It was just like, I'm going to go run my face off and see what happens. And like, don't let invisible barriers or things that aren't real kind of get in your way. Like, you belong in those races and conversations, and you're good enough. Yeah, I feel like there's a few more, but we'll just stick with those.
Okay. I really like that thing you said about other people have a good day and you get pushed on the back burner. I really like what you said about that because I felt that so many times in my career. Like, I had a couple off days or an off season. And if you don't keep believing you have something to give, you're just going to feel like you've expired out, Like, I think that's really good advice. Okay, this is going to be kind of fun, but uncomfortable for you. So we're going
Okay,
to end with a
great.
top
So fun
five,
for
but it's going
you.
to be it's fun for me and fun for our listeners. We're going to end with a top five, but we're going to do the Lever lift up moments because Lever is also sponsoring this pod here today. And you can do Nobody Asked Us for 20% off your Lever system, which obviously everyone knows I use mine all the time. I used it yesterday because I've been so beat up ever since that 5K. But Lever is really about lifting you up physically, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's what it does. But then we've talked about it in a more emotional sense and like just as a being there for other people's sense or moments that make us happy. So this is going to be hard, but you can do it. Let's go
Okay.
through 5 uplifting moments since your race, whether it's people that you heard from, things that you read about yourself, feedback that you got. Let's roll
Yeah.
through 5 things, which is going to be hard for you,
It
but
is hard.
you've heard way more than 5 things in the last week.
Yeah. I don't really read about myself. I'm sure there's hopefully it was nice. I did try to go through a lot of comments which were pretty incredible. So anybody who took a moment to comment, I didn't even see any rude ones, which is crazy because there's usually one like, "What are you, an idiot? Why would you?" You know, there wasn't, which is amazing, and that in itself is quite uplifting. But thank you everyone for the all the comments, the excitement around the race, sharing in sadness. That was really cool. Just being like, wow, like, this means something to people. Like, that's really neat because I think the sport feels so selfish at times, and then when you see other people invested, or like when they say like, "Oh, I learned this from you," or "This helped me get through," like, okay, like, it makes it feel a little less selfish. So every single comment was uplifting. I'll go with that. That's one.
Okay.
Am I doing all
Yeah, that's
5?
1. You're doing all 5.
Okay, are you gonna do 5 next?
Nope, it's just
Shit.
about
Okay.
you today.
Um, I will say 2 is going to the Red Sox game. Tradition, because we're doing so much on the weekends and getting ready for the race and being so focused. It was fun to go to the game with some good friends, and just like, I don't know, as a way to soak it in a just kind of, okay, this is the last time we're doing this, but it's not all that different. Like, this is tradition, and I can run it in a different way, and we can still have these moments, and maybe I can do this even you know before the race next time. And so it's sort of like flip the switch of like, what are the good things on the other side of this? And how might that look in the future? So that was uplifting. I will go with the BAA in general. I feel like they just were so supportive with this whole thing and helping me give me space to like decide and supporting it when I did. And even to mile 27, like, some really nice gestures um, at the after party and some very nice gifts that were given to me. But in general, just great people that, I think changed the trajectory of my life. So celebrating with those folks was very uplifting. That's 3. Is that 3?
You're doing good. Yeah, you're doing good.
Okay. Number 4, I'm gonna say was the post race after party with a very tight knit group of folks. A little champagne. We had some tipsy toasts, which were really kind, but pretty funny. And yeah, it's just like that group of people who always does a little bit more. So my sister being there and making a point to be at so many of my races and be supportive, and like she's a therapist, so she like talked me through a lot in the weekend and was like, okay, like how are you feeling? Why are you feeling that? What does this mean? It's okay to cry. And even down to like her toast at 1 a.m. Just being a supporter through and through is always uplifting. So that was cool. And then Ryan Linden obviously gets the last spot, and I'm missing you and Chris, and because you guys ditched the after party. But if I gave 10, you'd probably. I mean, if you just stayed at the after party, you would have been in there. But that's fine. So I'll go with Ryan Linden for this last one, who is uplifting throughout my entire career. We really, I think we were dating in 2007. So he like really has gone through every single one of these races with me. And like gets it. He gets exactly what it means, how hard it is, when to be there, when to give me space. And he helped me so much throughout the weekend with all those things, but also like he doesn't get enough credit. Like I think that it hit him just as hard, like seeing him tear up and like get emotional was, it's sad, but it's uplifting to know that I'm with someone who cares so much, and got to experience all of it with him. So that was pretty uplifting.
That was really good. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you for a lot of things. I'm proud of you for your accomplishments. I'm proud of you that you got to have a great last run through Boston and the professional field. But I'm just proud of who you are and the way you've handled yourself. And I think you've inspired me so much and you've taught me a lot. And like working with you has been really fun. And I just think you have so much more to offer. And it's been incredible to watch you, but I feel a little pang of sadness just because I live vicariously through you and we competed in the same era. And it is an end of an era for me because you're the last one kind of standing in our kind of group. But I'm so like happy that you got to do it your way. Yeah. And it's really special. And I'm going to miss rooting for you, but there's plenty of other things out there. And I adore you and I appreciate you. And thanks for everything you've done. And this isn't a funeral. So
no,
well, there's more to come, but I just really look up to you.
No, thank you. I'm not trying to cut you off, but thank you for that. And I think, I'm really, this side of it doesn't seem that scary because I've like, just like in being in the competitive side, it was like, we had such great people to look up to and to follow their lead, and who literally paved the way. And we say that, and it's like, people are just kind of like, oh, cliche, whatever. But it's like, dude, like, you just followed in their path, and it was like, we talk about fights in sports and like for rights for women, and it was like, feels so easy. And like, if I almost felt guilty, I'm like, it wasn't that hard because like we had incredible people in front of us, and I don't feel that nervous on this side of things because you're doing amazing things and you're like shown that there's so much life beyond and there's all these different ways to be involved and there's, like opportunities and it's all good stuff. And so thanks for again leading the way. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what you do, what I do, and what we can do, with our pod for the sport and all kinds of different opportunities. So it's exciting stuff.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.